Hey everyone, welcome to Real Talk with Real Pros. I'm Tom Houghton coming to you live from Omaha, Nebraska. Hope everyone's doing well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know where you're watching from. If you're just joining us, Blake Builders, I know where you're at. You better comment in the comments here. Let us give us a shout out for Nebraska showing up. Thanks everyone for tuning in for Real Talk with Real Pros. GTK Constructions, thanks for joining. Innovative Titles here. How's it going? Give you a wave. How's it going, Blake Builders? We're having Real Talk with Real Pros. It's my favorite time of the day, which is Wednesday right now, because we do this at different times every week. That's right, go Big Red. We are going to be joined by Sneller Custom Homes today, and I am so excited to chat with them. We're going to have them on in just a second. Thanks so much for those of you tuning in. We're going to have a great discussion about everything that's going on. Helena Mark Design just joined. Thanks so much for tuning in to Real Talk with Real Pros. Again, I'm Tom Houghton, your host. And if I'm looking a little bit sunburnt, it might be because we were outside delivering meals today to some of our employees at Buildertrend. So got some nice sunshine. I hope you are as well, enjoying the sunshine that's happening around you. We're going to be joined in just a second by Matt and Jenny Sneller, owners of Sneller Custom Homes based in Houston, Texas. Stick around, put down your hammers, pay attention, you might learn something. If you're a small business owner, you're going to want to stick around. If you're a builder, you're definitely going to want to stick around to hear what they have to say. Curtis Holmes, how's it going? Thanks for the wave. Miami Roofers in the house. Hopefully not currently on a roof of a house. That might be dangerous. Might want to get down first before watching. But how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. If you're let me know where you're watching from. Just shoot me a comment in the message below. How's it going, Margarine? Your Dalmatians here. Dogs are totally welcome to watch. So super excited for a good. I'm glad Miami Roofer confirmed they are not on a roof, so we're good to go. Matt just joined me, and there's Jenny. How's it going, guys?
Tom?
Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, you guys are great.
Cool. How are you, man?
I love it. Well, welcome to Real Talk with Real Pros. I'm doing the talking, or you're doing the talk. I don't know. We'll figure out some sort of byline with that. We'll workshop it, Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to chat with you. We've worked together on a few different projects over the years, so it's always a great time when I get a chance to talk to you guys. So first, I thought we'd start off, though, for those people who don't know about Sneller Custom Homes, they should. So let's enlighten them a little bit, all right? So give me some background, some history on the company. And again, if you're just tuning in, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to have a real discussion here. If you got a question for Matt and Jenny, leave it in the comments below. We'd love to answer any questions you might have. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll turn it over to you guys and give us a little background on the company.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you having us.
Yeah.
So I started Sneller Custom Homes and Remodeling about 9 years ago in 2011. I had worked for a couple other builders before and just decided to go off on my own. And so Jenny and I started the business, and we do custom homes from the ground up. And then we also do renovations, mostly larger scale additions and whole house remodels. And we do maybe, on average, we probably do 3 to 5 houses a year and maybe 15 or 20 remodels a year. So, and we're based out of the Houston area. We're based out of our house and our office are north of Houston a little bit, but we work all over the Houston area. So
awesome. That was a good brief synopsis. And I love hearing how many projects you guys are doing. That's great. Have you seen a decrease, or has it been a little quiet with everything going on around the world? Where are you at with your projects right now?
Yeah, when everything hit in March, there was a little bit of down. I think everyone was just like, what is happening in the world? And so things got quiet for a little bit, and then April hit, and I think people are just kind of over it in Houston. They're ready to just move on with their lives. So leads have picked up, and people are ready to do projects. So we're kind of back at it full speed.
Good. That's awesome to hear. Yeah, I don't think that's just Houston. I think that's pretty much everywhere. Everyone's just like, can we please move on? Like, let's get past this. Let's keep going. Let's get back to quote unquote normal. So maybe in the middle of that, and Miami Roofer just chimed in here, went through the same thing in March. Now it's busier than ever. That's awesome to hear, Miami Roofer. I don't know why I struggle with that one. I'm just so excited that they're watching this with us here. But that's awesome to hear. I guess I'm curious, how through this process did you like look at processes of what you were doing? Did you change anything? Did you adapt? What happened in that?
Yeah, it's been actually really fun because we've never had, I mean, we've been lucky enough that we've stayed busy like since we started. And so there's never been a chance to really sit back and go, is this the best way to do it? Should we be doing it this way? Do we need to change something? And so it's been a little bit fun for us to just have a little bit of breathing room and step back with our team and kind of do some planning. We had like a 5 or 6 hour planning meeting a couple weeks ago, which is like, that really gets me fired up.
Much to my chagrin, but Jenny loved it.
Yeah.
Side now, and I'm like, no, let's talk process.
Yeah.
We worked on templates and all kinds of stuff. So it was super fun, and we're enjoying the break, to be honest, like to relook at our systems and kind of do things better.
That's awesome. And I mean, process is key to making any business succeed. So that's fantastic that you're looking at it. I see that BP Smith Construction said they're in Florida. People must have gotten sick of looking at their old stuff and wanted to remodel. So that's good. They're super busy. That's great to hear. I mean, yeah, let's talk briefly about that, because obviously Sneller Custom Homes, but you also do remodeling. Are you seeing an interest on one side more than the other right now?
I don't think it's changed much post-COVID or in the middle of COVID. I think historically we usually have more remodels going just because they're not as big. You know, like I said, a few houses going at a time, but maybe 5 or 10 remodels going at one time. And so I haven't seen that change much. I would say we're, you know, post-COVID or post-April or whatever, we've had a lot of traffic on our website and a lot of leads coming in on both new construction and remodeling. So,
but I do, people are spending so much time at home. They're looking at things like, we've got to change this. So there's a lot of remodeling leads coming in.
Yeah.
That's good. Did you change anything? Did you go out more on the offensive in any areas, like running ads or anything like that? Or are you just seeing a natural uptick in traffic to the website, social media, et cetera?
Well, you know, we're new-ish to Instagram. I would say, I guess it was last time I talked to you, we had kind of gotten on this new thing called Instagram after we attended the Buildertrend conference. So we got onto Instagram, and we're posting there and kind of seeing, you know, good leads come through that and good interest. But other than that, I think it's just natural leads coming in. We're doing some stuff on the back end, revamping our website and doing some of that stuff that you just need to do every so often. But yeah, I think it's just kind of a natural uptick, and Houstonians are ready to do projects, which is awesome for us.
They're ready to go. That's awesome. That's great to hear. Yeah, I know last time we talked, we had you guys on the podcast. So if you're just watching this now and you haven't checked out our podcast, of course, go give it a listen. The Building Code, I co-host that with Paul Worth. We had you guys on probably, let's see, my guess is like episode mid-50s, I would say.
Yeah.
So we'll find it. We'll post it somewhere. We'll share it on Instagram. But yeah, go give it a listen. I know we talked about Instagram a lot during that time, so I'm glad to see that you guys are getting into it more. If you're just tuning in and you're not following Sneller Custom Homes, go give them a follow, give them some love on social media. But yeah, it's a great way to get leads. And of course, leads are gold right now, because while people are probably looking forward to do more projects, of course, we want to make sure we're capturing those leads. So have you done anything? Have you made any changes in your sales process when you're talking to people? Like, are you doing virtual visits, et cetera? Can you tell me about that process?
Yeah, we're doing a little bit more Zoom stuff. I mean, everybody's probably sick of Zoom by now, but it's just right now, sometimes that's better than having to get everybody to mask up, and it's hard to get to know people that way. So we're doing more Zoom stuff, but yeah, other than that, we're kind of trying to push on as normally as possible. But Zoom will probably be here to stay, to be honest. We're kind of in other little windows in our process that Zoom could be helpful, that, you know, before it might've been an email, but we're like, let's jump on Zoom. Everyone knows how to use it, and it's a good face-to-face touch point that's a little bit more personal than just, you know, an email. So we're kind of in Zoom for the long haul, I think.
Yeah, I think we'll see it start to be used. We've used it a little bit for the sales and lead side of things where, if a client isn't comfortable with us coming to the house, they want to meet me for the first time, then that's great over Zoom. But the other thing too is once we're already engaged with the client is, maybe we're sending them a rough budget, and rather than just sending them an email, or it used to be a drive out there and hours of my time, now I can just jump on a 30-minute Zoom with them and go through everything and answer their questions. And it's much better to get that personal feedback right away, but to not have to spend all my time in the car. And a lot of our clients are nervous about people being in their house. So it's a great medium to use.
That's awesome. And I see somebody else chiming in here. Miami Roofer again. BT has given us the flexibility to go virtual with our clients. That's awesome. We love hearing that. I mean, that's really what you should be leveraging technology now more than ever to communicate with not only your team, but also your customers. So I guess I'd be curious. We talked about process a little bit, that big process meeting to be a fly on the wall. I mean, we're having, we're real talk with real pros. Could you give us some insight into any highlights of that meeting, any goals going into it that you came out with too, like some takeaways?
Yeah. I mean, any chance I have to make everyone sit at the conference table together, I'm like, yes.
Whiteboard.
Yes. So our main goal in that was to kind of go through our Buildertrend templates and kind of delete the ones that were not working so well and make sure that the ones that we were keeping are really actually useful, saving people time, and that everyone knows where everything is. So when we onboard someone, it's like we can just log on Buildertrend and it's like, here, everything you need is right here. Use these things. So that was our main goal. We worked for, really about 5 hours straight on templates. And so we get a follow-up meeting in another week and we'll see how everybody did. Everybody kind of walked away with some homework. So
yeah.
That's awesome. I love that you also gave out homework. That's good. That's important to make sure. Sometimes you just have meetings with people or meetings with your team and it's kind of like, great, we talked, but now what, right? So you got to have those action items. You got to have those check-ins to make sure that stuff is getting done. Specifically when it comes to templates too, huge time saver. But I love that you're going back and asking the question of like, is this template actually saving us time? Are we using this right to make sure that this is actually going to save us time? Because sometimes, we can get kind of caught up in things and make a process harder when we're trying to make it easier. So it's good that you're analyzing that to make sure that you're getting the return out of trying to make the process easier. So that's really, really smart. I'm glad you shared that with everyone.
Well,
any other takeaways?
Well, along those same lines, what was great about the working on the templates was we had everybody in our team there. So I think when we first created the templates, I think either I created them or our office manager created them, but it was never really a conversation with everybody on the team. And so we had our project managers there, we had our selections coordinator there, our office manager. And so it's really like, hey, this is how, project managers, how are you using this? And they're like, oh, I'm not using that at all. It's like, oh, well, why are we even messing with that or putting that in there? They're saying, I'd really like it if we could do this. And it's like, oh, that's easy to do. Let's just change it right now. So it was awesome to have everybody in the room and to be able to just make changes right there, create schedule templates, and the office can create templates for when they set up a new job, the correct folders and the correct permissions and all that stuff is set up. So it was extremely helpful.
Yeah,
that's really, really smart.
Sort of hone in on like, we will never get to perfection. That's not, but if this can work 90% of the time, even 80% of the time, then it's worth doing, because otherwise we're just spinning our wheels. We're doing the same stuff again and again. So even if it works 80% of the time and that other 20% is like, we're custom. So there are going to be some projects that are just really different and they're not templatable, So So that's what we're getting. We're trying to get to that 80-90% mark, but perfection's just not on the table,
Yeah. I mean, that's the best you can aim for, really. And I think, again, it's super commendable that, when you're running a small business and you got a team, like I want to talk about your team in just a second to give everybody a little more detail of your team, but you've got a team and you're just go, right? And then you're like, everybody's kind of all going in separate directions too. It's good to have those meetings where you come back together and make sure like, okay, we all need to work on the same page. We all need to hear the same thing. You got to set those expectations with everybody, with your project managers, and be like, okay, when you're out in the field, we want you to do a daily log, and this is what we want you to have in the daily log. And how can you templatize those daily logs to make the whole process easier for everybody else. So we'll come back to technology. I want to talk about your team a little bit. Give us some insight on your team. I know we talked about project managers. I think you said selection coordinator, which is great. Give us an idea of the size that you're working with and who you're working with, because I know I've personally met your team when I was down there a while ago. You've got a great team, so let's give them some love real quick.
Yeah, so we've got 2 project managers. So Andy, you have met. He is unmistakable. He's got a big, long red
with the beard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We love Andy. He is full-time project manager. We have another project manager that's new-ish. He's kind of splitting his time between estimation and project management. So Robert's doing a great job awesome. With estimating. That takes the estimating off Matt's plate, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And then we've got Sarah, who's our office manager. And then we've got another Sarah, which is super confusing for clients, but another Sarah that is our selections coordinator. So she kind of works between the designers and us, helping to make sure materials are ordered and that, everything is in place. So
yeah. And she actually works off-site. She lives in Michigan. She worked for us for about a year and a half, and then her husband got a job opportunity to move back to Michigan. And so she worked from there, and actually we were a little nervous at first and said, hey, let's give it a try, but it's worked out great. So it made, COVID didn't affect her at all because she just kept remotely like she always had. So
yeah. I mean, that's a great point. I think everyone's kind of collectively stepped up their game a little bit. Everyone wasn't really sure if this whole work from home thing was going to actually work. And it has. I think it's been a huge success. And I think it just shows people who are willing to overcome the obstacle. And I think those kind of team members definitely stand out head and shoulder above the rest. And they're the people you want to make sure are on your team, and you're giving, making sure you're giving them attention, that they're doing a great job, of course, and communicating with them. And it's really good to hear that the team is still operating really well at 100%, it sounds like. So that's fantastic.
Well, and on your point about work from home, one of the things we've realized, because Sarah and Jenny both were kind of our main office people that were there on a regular basis, they've both continued working from home even though the office is back open. But we've actually realized that it helps us as a team, because what we end up doing is once a week we have a team meeting with everybody on the team, where we used to just have me and the project managers meeting once a week. And then the assumption was, well, we see each other often enough in the office that we know what's going on. But we didn't really. We weren't on the same page. And so creating that weekly time for the entire team to be together, we, Zoom Sarah from up in Michigan in on that meeting so that she can join. And it's great for everybody to get updates on projects that are going on, potential projects that are coming up, all of that stuff. So that's been a really big, just in the past 3 or 4 weeks has been really helpful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's turn our talk to technology really quick. Of course, I'm a big fan of technology. You also might know a technology that I'm a very big fan of. I know you use it as well. So let's talk about how Buildertrend or other technology in general has helped. I know we've mentioned Zoom before, of course, Zooming. Everyone's doing Zooms all the time now. But how has Buildertrend helped your process out in the field? How are you setting those expectations with your team and communicating with them? Maybe you can dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, I would say Buildertrend is not part of our process. It is our process. Like, it actually is the framework for how the whole company operates. So if you took that piece out, I mean, literally it would fall apart, because it's what's holding everything. It's the hub of all of what we do. So we've kind of taken it over the years, one feature at a time, to try to drill into people, like get into the habit of daily logs. And that sometimes will slip. And so we'll get back on that. And I think we're pushing the templates right now. We're pushing, hooking up schedule pieces so that things are automated. I think some people are a little nervous about automation,
Sure.
but they get nervous about, what if this releases too early, or what if this tells my homeowner something that they shouldn't know, or whatever. But I just feel like, again, back to that, like 80 to 90%, like if it's working about 80%, like your homeowner is going to be forgiving if you just go, oh, hey, that was released too early, don't worry about it. It's so helpful to just have the team rolling, where they all go to Buildertrend for everything, where there's not like, okay, search your email for these kind of things and search Dropbox for these kind of things. The hub to be Buildertrend. So we're really drilling that in, that if you need an answer to something, check Buildertrend first. That's where everything is.
Well, we've got all the project managers have iPads with data capabilities, so they can check Buildertrend on job sites and for daily logs, for looking at plans, specifications, all that stuff. So, and for me, it's huge as the owner of the company that would like to be on job sites more often, but unfortunately I can't be as much as I want to be. And so to be able to look at daily logs and look at pictures of the PMs are taken and see that, hey, yeah, this job is progressing good. Or I've even caught stuff on a picture where I'm like, something doesn't look right there. And I can call the project manager and be like, hey, what's going on here? And we've caught issues or been able to talk over stuff. So it's a huge help for me as an owner to be able to see that. And then we've also, our clients are so well trained now that if they don't see daily logs for 3 or 4 days, they're usually making a comment like, hey, we haven't seen a daily log in a while. Is everything okay? So, which I love that. I love that they're expecting that and that they're looking for that. And it kind of holds my project managers accountable to continue doing that because customers are looking for it. So,
yeah. And the payments, you should say one thing, like the payments, oh my goodness, it has saved hours. I mean, because Houston, if you drive across town, like you might as well leave the state. It is so, and the traffic is so bad. It's like if someone needed you to pick up a check at 5 o'clock, like just kiss the whole rest of your day goodbye.
Sure.
So just log in and just make your payment. No big deal. Like hours of time, truly.
Yeah. That's awesome to hear. That's a great point. I think sometimes people don't think about that. They're thinking like, oh, like I'm already doing a route or something. But now, especially because again, the pandemic, I think it's opened everybody up to rethink, the process of how you're doing things. And that's a great point. Like you can totally save time and save money through saving all that time of driving around, saving the gas, like sitting in traffic. What's that doing to your life? Making it stressful, right?
Your mental is shot.
Come home, dog and yell at the kids. And it happens.
Yeah. So, it's a great point. You can definitely save time and money through using our payments processing system. So I'm so glad to hear that that's working really well for you. I know that sometimes is a holdup for some people, but it's nice to hear from people who actually use the software and they're like, yeah, it does work. We're using it, I think it's great too. You mentioned kind of like obviously having Buildertrend as a hub for everything. Once you kind of get there, it takes a little bit. I like that you said you started with one thing first and then you moved on to the next thing. And then that first thing might need a little bit of work and some tweaking, and then you can keep going and keep building. And that's awesome that you guys are continuing to do that. And again, if you're just watching right now, a couple things. First off, hi, thanks for joining us. We're talking with Matt and Jenny Sneller from Sneller Custom Homes. If you got a question for them, shoot it out in the comment box down below there. We'd love to answer any questions. Also want to plug, if you are watching this and you want to learn more about Buildertrend, we have free online conferences that we're doing. So that way we can help educate you, continuing education on the program, specifically about templates. Again, I'm just so excited about templates. They're just so exciting. So it's great. I think BP Smith Construction just said something about payments. So the hold is never longer than the hold when we do a deposit at a check at a bank. So that's great to hear. Super fast payments.
Yep, I totally agree with that. I think when we first started using it, there was some hesitation, like how long is our money going to get held? When are we going to see this? But really, in my mind, the biggest holdup is the initial setup. Takes a few days because there's the micro deposits and all that have to be confirmed or whatever. But really, what we've started doing is we tell clients to do that at the very beginning of the project before we actually need it set up, and that way it's set up and ready to go. And then when they make that first payment, we're seeing it. I think we're seeing it in our account within a couple days, which, like you said, that sure beats going and driving around the city trying to figure. Customers like, hey, can you come to my office and get this? Or no, you need to come to the house, and it's a headache. So it's a huge relief for us.
Yeah. And everyone's doing everything online now, right? So it just makes sense. I do all my banking online. I can, you can check your project online. Like, why not pay for stuff online? That just seems to make sense especially with everything going on with this pandemic too. Just keeping it all digital is just a much cleaner way of doing business. So that's awesome to hear that it's working really well for you guys. You mentioned too about your customers and them potentially kind of helping nudge the project managers on a little bit. Again, I think that just speaks to customers they're kind of expecting this digital communication. that we're all a part of now, and that we're all like have increased so much. I think earlier this week, Apple just announced that they've seen like a 40% increase in text in their messaging platform and iMessages. I mean, so there's so much more communication happening digitally, and of course, you guys are on the good side of that, on the positive side of that, using Buildertrend, using those daily logs as a way to communicate. So that's awesome to hear that.
Well, and honestly, for me, it's a sales tool. Also, when I'm Buildertrend is when I'm meeting with clients, and they kind of ask about how long is the project going to take, and how do you handle change orders, and to be able to say, hey, we use a construction management software that handles all of that for you. You know, it's easy to download the app, go to the website. Once you get set up with it, that's where everything is going to be, and it's so nice, not only for us internally, but for the client to be able to have everything in one spot. Change orders are super easy. They can just click on their phone and sign it, and then click pay, and they don't have to worry about, you know, giving us a physical signed change order or a physical check. So it's not only a huge sales tool, but just revolutionizes our day-to-day business.
That's awesome. So speaking of day-to-day business, you guys are a husband and wife team, which is awesome. I love that. I mean, again, it's like America's sweethearts I'm talking with. This is like great. But I'm sure things can obviously be challenging, of course, no matter where you work. Your coworkers can sometimes drive you crazy. Of course, mine don't. They're good. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
They're probably watching this right now. Hi, everybody. Love you all. But tell me about the experience working with you know, your spouse, and what's that like?
Oh, it's always perfect. No,
Never anything.
never any arguments or disagreements.
It's like parenting, you know, it's like one day you do it great, and the next day you're like, man, I stink. I don't know. I mean, some days it goes really well, and other days it's tough. But I think the one thing we've done well probably is we've really made sure there's a division of labor between us. So I you know, handle marketing and sales and kind of the business development and HR, and then he handles, you know, pretty much all the construction side of stuff. So in that way, it helps us to kind of not step on each other's toes a lot. There's obviously lots of stuff that we have to decide together, but on a day-to-day basis, at least it means I'm the expert on these things. Don't look over my shoulder. Don't micromanage me. And same thing with him. You know, we've each got our to-do list.
Yeah, that's great.
It has its challenges. I mean, it's the feeling. We were just having a talk last night, actually, and it's like it feels like we don't. Some weeks and some days it just doesn't feel like work ever goes away, because it's not like a conventional situation where I come home and I can vent about my coworkers, because she's actually one of the coworkers, and so I'm venting about her potentially, and so it's kind of awkward. But that part is hard. But again, it's just it's setting ground rules, and we try to say, hey, when we get home, let's not talk about work. We have plenty of time to do that during the day. Let's focus on the kids and focus on each other and our marriage. And so it's not always easy to do, but I think kind of setting some of those ground rules up front helps with it a lot.
That's awesome. I think that is so true with any relationship, whether it's husband and wife and spouse, or like it's coworkers, setting those expectations and making sure that everyone knows, okay, this is your column of responsibilities. This is my column of responsibilities. Don't touch my column. Don't you come near it, you know, like, let me do it. Let me crush it, you know? So that's great. It takes time to build that trust. And again, through all of our interactions, I see it from you guys so much. And that's why I thought I'd just share it with everybody else here. I know it's challenging. I'm sure there's tough times, but you guys do seem to handle it really well. So keep up the great work with that. I know it's a different dynamic than most people, but I think also surprising, construction is one of those industries where you see much more of this than other industries. I don't know, maybe you'll disagree, but I'd be curious to hear your response.
That it is true. I mean, we have seen lots of
I'm seeing comments right now on here.
Yeah, from Miami Roofer, we should start a husband and wife construction owner support group. 100%.
Totally. Yeah. I think it is more common in the construction world for whatever reason. But yeah, we love it. I mean, it also provides us the freedom to, you know, because we're both in the same business and owning it together, it's the freedom to be at kids' things and be flexible with our schedules. And if Jenny needs to get something done, but I need to stay home with the kids, it just makes it a lot easier when we're together and we're, you know, kind of cohesively working on it together. So. And
I think with construction specifically, when you're starting a construction business, in a lot of cases, it's a necessity for both to be in it. You know, if Matt had started it alone, I mean, I don't think he would have slept for 4 years, because there's just too much to do at the front end to pay bills and run jobs. It's impossible. So it started as necessity, and then I think as we've gone along, it's like, okay, well, it does work, you know, for family. So.
Well, it's working really well, clearly. Again, from the outsider's perspective, I commend you. It's fantastic. I love it. And I'm sure your clients love it too, because it's great to have kind of like a unified front. And I think that obviously starts at home, but obviously that spreads to your team. Like I mentioned, I've met your team. Great people. You've done a fantastic job hiring. And I think they continue to carry that same unified front that you guys have put out. And again, that goes back to those expectations. You've set those expectations. You're leading from the front. And again, as a small business owner, I know it's challenging because you've got so much going on, but your communication is clearly working going out to the rest of the team. So well done with that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Last but not least, I thought we'd just wrap up really quick with some trends that you might be seeing in your area, or things that you're excited about. Because I know obviously every area around the world, they kind of each have their own areas of interest and, you know, styles and things like that. So we thought maybe we'd just check in and see what's happening in your neck of the woods.
Yeah. I think, you know, a big thing in Houston, even though it's extremely hot and humid here, indoor-outdoor living is always a big thing. We're doing a lot. I just had a meeting earlier today with a client that wants to do a big covered patio. And I mentioned, you know, do you want to do some screens, like motorized screens, to where you can close it and there's no bugs, and we can even put an outdoor air conditioner if you want to. And so people are realizing that for us, you know, you put a ceiling fan out there, or if you have the money to put an air conditioner out there, it's awesome to be able to sit outside and not be distracted by everything inside the main house, dishes and the sink and the TV going, or kids running around. So I think that's really is a big trend here. And then I think also post-COVID, I've had a few clients that are saying, hey, we need to figure out kind of a multi-use, multi-function space where, you know, it's a guest bedroom that now needs to be my work from home office, or my exercise room, or whatever. So that's definitely been popular too.
Yeah. I mean, from all the reports that I'm seeing, it sounds like offices are going to be a huge increase in request for people going forward, home offices. So, and they obviously come in handy, but I love the idea of making it a multi-use space, because you might not need it, you know, every day of the week if you're going in and, you know, like rotating days or things like that. So that's really smart to be thinking about it as how can we maximize the usage of this space without it just being kind of a dead space.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, awesome, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. One last quick question just for fun, because I always like to know this. So the next time I come visit in Houston, where should we eat for dinner or something? Where's a spot that you guys love to eat at?
One of my favorites is up in the Woodlands, actually, called True Food. It's super healthy. It's delicious. Delicious food. You got it.
Healthy and delicious, those don't typically go together.
My answer would be a little different. I would say grab some awesome Tex-Mex at like Lupe Tortilla, where you can get a big old bowl of queso and fajitas and margaritas. So
there you go. We'll hit up both. You got to balance it out, right?
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for everybody watching at home. Again, BP Smith Construction, thanks you guys as well. And I agree, this was so much fun. So Miami Roofer apparently wants some barbecue. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Awesome barbecue here too. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Again, wish you continued success. And until next time, I hope you guys have a good rest of the day and keep crushing it.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks so much, Tom.
See you soon.
All right. See you guys.